Okay guys, welcome back and thank you for joining me again. Now in the last episode we saw me take this for a quick spin and we took it for a wash as well, but today is the very messy job of cutting off the rear cross member and welding on a rear quarter chassis. So it's going to be a long day, but let's grab some tools and get straight to it. So you can see here we already have our rear main oil seal leaks. This has been left over the weekend, and Josh is a much better talented welder than myself, so he's going to be assisting me today. And we've got to turn it around obviously so we can have our natural sunlight assisting us here. Looking clean. Of action is going to be to take off the mud flaps, take off the rear wheel, take out the fuel tank, wheels and tyres, the fuel line pipes, pretty much get everything out the way, A-frame up and out the way, probably change the ball joint, and then pretty much, I know the cross member is, the rust is only limited literally just to the cross member. I mean, we could actually just cut and weld here, it's strong here, but I always try and carry it as much further back as possible. And we have a rear quarter anyway, so we can take it back and do the rear quarter. And yes, pretty much we're just gonna get the rip saw, cut the chassis, and cut the loom as well, stuff the loom back inside, and well, get this job done because this cross member has absolutely had it. So it'll be nice to see a it'll be nice to see a fresh cross member on this, and it'll be galvanized, and then we can paint it black, and the rear end of this will be so much tidier. So let's get it in. Having done this before on my red one, I hope this job is going to go pretty smoothly. I don't really expect to find any surprises or anything that's going to kind of catch me off guard. It's pretty much cut everything and square it all up, got to measure everything, and yeah, butt it all up, weld it all back together, and this one should be good as gold. Your hair. Okay guys, so it's reached the point where pretty much we're gonna start dropping the fuel tanks. We need to get the fuel tank out, and then we can actually make the cuts and basically, yeah, take the cross member out. Now, I thought just before we do that, I'll just pull our cross member across, our galvanized one just here, and just make sure that everything's perfect. And it's really lucky I did, because this is a rear quarter chassis. And basically what we'd be prepping this is for is we'd be cutting off is the rear quarter. Now, having a look at this, something looks slightly off about it, and I didn't know until right this moment, and I've worked it out now, is that they've actually sent me a 110, a Defender 110 rear cross member. So that's a real nightmare, because I've booked Josh in today for the welding work, and he's not around after today. So that's really throwing the spanner in the works. And I thought, I don't know what's wrong with this car, but I'm finding that I'm having some troubles along the way. But basically, I've sent him away. There's a company about an hour away, and they have one in stock. It's not a rear quarter, it's actually just a rear cross member. But luckily enough, just the rear cross member is actually what needs replacing on this one. So I've sent him away. I said, go and get it, just let's get it done today. And basically, while he's gone, I'm going to drop the fuel tank down and get everything prepared so that when he comes back, we can literally just make the cuts, get the thing prepped up, put it on and weld it up. I don't think this one that they have is galvanized, so we won't have to wear so much protection equipment. Essentially, when you're welding up galvanized stuff, you've got to grind it all back. But it's at least 3 mil thick, which is the same as this, so we're going to protect it anyway, and we're going to paint it black. So we're still going to have it protected. It's not going to rust, and it's still going to be a proper job. But there we go. Problems go wrong. Things happen, and it's how you overcome them, I suppose. So it's luckily that a company near me have them in stock. Otherwise, I'd be really, really stuffed. So there we go. I'm going to drop the fuel tank down. So yeah, grab a drink. Also, something I did notice, in the last episode, I said that the rear suspension, when I took it for a test drive, felt slightly soft. That might be why. The bottom of the shock mount completely just snapped away. So literally I was just driving without any kind of shock absorption on this corner. So, I mean, we're replacing them anyway, but there we go. Interesting to know. Remove the rear wheel on this. Actually, let's see if there's a good tyre on here. I'd say it's a good tyre. Plenty of tread, that's good to see. So I'm going to get this wheel off, and that'll just give us as much access to the cross member, all the little bolts and stuff like that, lining up as possible. Oh my God, look at the size of that. Nope. You can leave. Oh my God. Oh! Nope. Bye-bye. Okay guys, so I've got the fuel tank out and I'm pretty much ready. I think we're ready, apart from cutting the loom for when Josh gets back with this new cross-member piece ourselves. And I can't believe just how much has crumbled away, really. I mean, it's so lucky that the legs aren't affected, but I mean, look at the state of the actual cross-member itself. So I think the new unit is going to butt up sort of around here, which is quite good. Both sides are quite nice. So yeah, I'm just waiting for him to come back with the new piece, and we can mock this thing up and start cutting where is essential, and basically, yeah, put a new crossmember on this. But this thing is just totally rotten. Josh has made it back with our new crossmember, which has got these kind of shorter extensions on. So we're now just getting out the reciprocating saw, rip saw, and basically cutting it as close as we can to the original crossmember, so that we've got as much of this extension that we can then plate against, butt it all up, weld it all together, and then pretty much wax oil and schutz the hell out of it, really. So at the moment, we're just getting yeah, our saw and cutting this one off. Let's try and offer that up, just see where we're at.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just put it down forwards. Might need a little reference. So our old cross members removed, and yeah, this is one of those moments where you just think, well, what we got ourselves into. But got to get worse before it gets better. So hopeful. See that on the end now, it's going to have to go towards you. And then just push your guard onto that hanging bit.
Push what on?
So you see your end now, but this big bit with the bolts that through.
Yeah.
Lip for it to sit on.
Yes.
Just get it splitting on that.
She's in.
Oh look, so yours is butting up. Yours we need to lift it.
It's got twist, doesn't it?
You see that if you look here, you see this bit?
Yeah.
Is inside the chassis.
This has got drive tape. I'll tell you what's stopping it.
We do need to trim these up. These aren't.
Yeah, we got.
So after our test fit, we kind of know where it needs to sit and what needs to be done now. And now we need to pretty much just completely clean up all the chassis, make sure all the welds are going to be as strong as possible. So Josh is going to go at it now, make sure everything's clean and ready so he can weld our new cross member on. So Josh is nearly done with the welding. He's just literally finishing up those final kind of patches, but it's looking really, really good, really, really happy. And I mean, I can weld, but nothing like Josh. He's a professional fabricator, and you can just see in the quality of the welds. I mean, this is like a load-bearing piece. This is the back of the chassis. So if there's any towing to be done, there's no point messing around. I just want to make sure that this is as strong as it can be. So made the right decision here, and these welds are just absolutely perfect. Whew. Okay, guys, so I'm just so filthy today. It's just been one of those days. Just get absolutely covered. But the crossmember, safe to say, is completely finished. I'm going to give it sort of like an undercoat. I just want to show you guys basically the quality of the job. And yeah, it looks already so much better. Considering what was before, it's just a massive improvement. Just the overall look of this car, and obviously longevity of the chassis, the rest of it. So I'll show you guys what we've done. Oh, it's just total destruction. It was just complete mess. So rotten. And you can see the amount that's on the floor here. And now it's completely strong, nice and safe. Everything's etch primed. Everything's nice and square. Looks fresh. Obviously needs a clean. The fuel tank still needs to go back up and in, but it's looking so good. And it's pretty straightforward, if I'm honest. I've done a rear quarter before, and that's what we were expecting today, but obviously we ended up doing just the rear crossmember itself. Super happy with how it looks. I have to basically pop up the fuel tank, but I just want to make sure that I, sort of coat everything, make sure everything's fit to last another lifetime. We've still got to do, so I noticed, actually, I want to change the A-frame ball joint, which stops the axle rotating forward and backward. The gate is completely just trashed. So I want to change that. Obviously, our shock is snapped on that side, so that's great. We're going to be putting that stuff on anyway, but for now, I'll probably just assemble it and just sort of not have a shock. It's not going to be driving on the road, but it'll just be moving around the yard. And then basically, it's pretty much time to have some fun with this. We've still got to do a clutch because of that noise. The spigot bush is rotating inside the end of the crank, so we're going to have to take out the whole clutch assembly. This has done 104,000 miles, so we need a dual mass flywheel as well, or perhaps something better. But basically, I'm not sure what is next to go on this. I'm kind of leaning towards maybe suspension, wheels and tyres, just to get it looking right. I don't know. But basically, there's going to be a lot more to do to this one. I'm going to give this thing a real nice coat of underbody seal, just to protect all of this inside, everything where we welded, just to make sure this thing can last as long as possible. So I'm literally going to blast and coat absolutely everything, to do with this welding section just here. And I will protect this towards the end. But for now, let's just protect these welds. We've etch primed them just to keep them from rusting. And now it's basically just cover them in some underbody seal. Okay, so none of that's on there, a bit thick, but it will most certainly do the job and keep this thing protected. So I'll wait for this to dry. It's probably going to take a while because it's quite thick. And I'll probably do it all again. I'm going to do the whole of the chassis anyway, just to make sure that this thing is staying rust-free. I'm so happy with how this looks. It's really nice and strong. And tomorrow we've got to put on our fuel tank when this is all dry, build it all back up. And yeah, we can give it a little road test. I'm sure obviously it'll all be fine, but it's looking good. Okay guys, so that's going to be a wrap for today. I can't believe the state of me. So I'm going to go home, have a shower, and then tomorrow we can refit the fuel tank, refit everything in some good time, and hopefully a few other bits will arrive in terms of, like, we just noticed the A-frame ball joint, so we might change that depending if it arrives. If not, we'll simply just attack that at a later date. But for now, really happy with today's progress. And yeah, it's just one of those jobs. It's nice to see now, isn't it? That was so rotten before. And it's nice to reflect. It's nice to say that it's done. And all that's left to do is refit the fuel tank and the wheels and the anti-roll bar. And we have our new cross member installed and our chassis is nice and safe once more. So I'll see you guys in the morning. Okay guys, day 2, and all that we've got to do to finish off this cross member is to install our fuel tank and our sender, put on the wheels, the mud flaps, and this cross member's done. So let's grab some tools, get straight to it. Very refreshing to see that this is still here overnight. Considering what we faced yesterday, the mess that was the chassis, coming this morning, and obviously this is all sorted, everything's nicely waxed and nicely dry. It's still a bit tacky because it is waxed. I'm sure I'm going to get covered anyway. But let's get straight to it, get the fuel tank, and we can kind of prop it in position and get this thing back on the road. I did the whole underside of all the floor whilst I still had access to everything. So every part that you can't get to during wax oiling, whilst the tank is in the way, absolutely covered. So that's really, really good. Okay guys, that is our cross member completed. Everything's back together, everything's perfect. I've taken off the shock absorber on this side just because obviously it snapped the bottom mount. So we're on that moving around, just want to move it around the yard. But let's pull it out, take it for a little jaunt around the farm if you will, and make sure the job's been done correctly. Okay guys, I've taken it for a quick kind of spin around the farm. Everything's as it should be. Everything's still working perfectly, but it's got a new rear end on this, and I've just given it a very, very small spruce in terms of like a bit of speed detailer and a bit of tyre shine and the rest of it. And I just can't believe how much different this car's looking already. And we've only done, we've only rebuilt the engine and we've done the cross member, and the rest of it's just as it was sort of thing, just cleaned up. So let's have a look at the car. Even the paintwork's coming up really, really glossy, and I've literally just used some kind of speed detailer. But I'm really, I can kind of see what's going to happen now with this car. It's starting to get its own kind of look. It runs well. It's now got its chassis sorted, and I've still got to wax it and protect it properly. But obviously I want to do the full build first, because wax is horrific to kind of get all over my tools, all over me. So I'd rather do it right at the end and tape up all the shiny bits, and then go absolutely nuts once everything's repaired, everything's built, and everything's mechanically on the chassis kind of sorted and what we're going to do with it. And then I can spray everything, and we've got all the shiny parts, but everything's protected in wax. But it's looking so clean. It may be the cleanest one I've seen up here, probably because everything gets covered in dust. It's got a few dents, a few marks, but it's 20 years old or whatever it is. But look at it. It looks so fresh, and oh, I'm really starting to love this car. When I first got it, I was thinking, oh God, it could be one of those projects, but it's really shining in the sun. It looks very sweet indeed, and it's running really nicely. No leaks at all. This is multiple days after its rebuild. But look at it, a right little peach. Okay guys, that's going to be a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to tell me what you guys think in the comments section. Please don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Instagram, which is @JuiceMotors, and I'll see you guys next time. What are you still doing here? Show's over. Go home.